TCIG X Spaces highlights June 2025 Part 2.
Jesse Pollock. He had posted something about cross-border transfers, that anything other than crypto, it would cost you about $9,000 to $12,000 to send $1 million globally. And in order to do that with crypto, it would cost you less than 1 cent on base to send $1 million. And instant settlement, Klarna, one of the largest payment giants in the world now, that absolutely exploded in the last couple of years. The Klarna buy now, pay later, they announced that they will add Bitcoin and crypto. This is our first look at TCIG apparel, stitched in history. We are working towards creating a store on the website, and the store will have 2 sections, one for TCIG apparel, and then one for everyday crypto apparel. These lessons are pretty much across the board. When you go through some cycles, the number one lesson, believe it or not, even though we're Ethereum focused, is to buy more Bitcoin. A Bitcoin strategic reserve is the way to go from the top down, from corporations, small businesses, individuals. Any individual or company, you should be thinking about a strategic Bitcoin reserve. No matter how big, how small, start somewhere. Number 2 has really ramped up in the last few years. Everything that you can do in the centralized economy with banks is what DeFi will do. All automated, all with smart contracts, all on-chain, all permissionless. Borrow against assets or whatever you want to do. That's what stablecoins are for cross-border transactions. It's instant settlement, low fees. There's no better utility in the world than stablecoins. So the number 2 lesson would be to utilize stablecoins more. Number 3 goes into a little bit of Ethereum, is staking. Proof of stake has opened up a world of opportunities and possibilities within crypto. And like I was saying with Ethereum, it burns, earns, and returns. So every time you make a transaction or you stake something, it burns a certain percentage off the Ethereum blockchain. And most of the chains that you can stake are built on Ethereum. I mean, the majority of crypto is built on Ethereum. So staking helps secure the network, makes it more decentralized. And then if you stake enough, you can become a validator. So then it helps the chain become even more decentralized. And so the world is catching on to this, that institutions, companies, individuals, anybody can become a validator for the chain. It's just holding a certain amount. And that's how DeFi has been built, is that this staking creates a liquidity pool, so all of these assets can move freely within the on-chain world. Number 4, look into mining. Just understand that you can buy a Bitcoin miner from $150 up. So you could buy a personal miner for $150. It is a global equal competition that you can run a personal miner that's running off a solar panel that just uses the energy from the sun, and all of a sudden you can win a block, and there you go. You're paid out 3.125 Bitcoin for mining a block. There's a number of coins you can mine. Number 5 goes off of staking, and all the possibilities that you can have within crypto is to borrow against assets. If you're investing, the way to increase your liquidity is to borrow against your assets. But with crypto, it's in one click. So utilizing Aave or Compound or a lot of the different liquidity pools that are out there, it is very easy to borrow against your assets. And even like Coinbase, you can borrow up to, they started at 100,000, you can now borrow up to $1 million against your Bitcoin. There's another company, Arcus, out of the Cayman Islands, that it enables you to borrow against your Bitcoin without having to sell it or move it. The top resources I would recommend under my personal LinkedIn services, there are 3 different resources there. Number 1 is the Coinbase documentary. I start with that with anyone who wants to learn anything about crypto or understand why Coinbase is what it is, leading the way in economic freedom for the world. So number 1, the Coinbase documentary. You can now watch it on YouTube for free. You used to have to pay for it, but it's available everywhere now. God Bless Bitcoin documentary is number 2. That is also on YouTube. And then the speech by Michael Saylor called The Digital Gold Rush. Some other resources. If you're checking out my personal LinkedIn, just scroll down to TCIG. Under that experience block, you will find 50 pieces of content related to TCIG. And it's a lot of the stuff we have been covering in the last few months. Besides looking at the business LinkedIn, which I'll go into further here, I would recommend you start with our featured. Something that we've covered many times over. There's a couple posts about it on our X. Is the Galaxy crypto use cases. Galaxy just went public last month. They are very Ethereum focused as well. And so they had posted this spread about crypto use cases, and it's still till today the number one resource to understand just about like a full layout of what's out there, what the use cases are, what the utility is for the different platforms that are involved in crypto. Can't mention that one enough. Crypto use cases by Galaxy. One specifically that you'll see in part 8 of crypto coin cases on our YouTube and TikTok. On the website, it's at the top of the LinkedIn. It's in your face everywhere as much as it can be. So the TCIG crypto coin cases extended series, Bitcoin and Ethereum, the juggernauts. Can't mention that one enough either. It compiles most of the information that we have been gathering for the last few months into our longest read of our blog. Many reasons to be on the Bitcoin train, but there's also a lot of reasons to be on the Ethereum train, and we need to all get along, and there's no going forward without going together. If you want to learn more about the energy usage behind Bitcoin and the other protocols that are out there, or just different terms in crypto, there's a lot of things to learn on our blog as well. And then on the website, there's also a link to Chainlink's timeline explanation on money. So if you want to learn a little bit about money and what the timeline is, that's another top resource, I would say. The final one here is Marathon Holdings interview with Siemens executive. Get across a lot of information about microgrids and what Bitcoin's role is going to play in energy usage going forward. I've watched it 4 times already myself. It's an hour long. People think that the boat has come and gone, but really we're at the beginning of all this. 94.5% of all Bitcoin has been mined, and there's about 5% left. But that 5% will take 115 years. So each day we are alive, it gets harder to mine a Bitcoin. There's so many things out there that get posted that say you don't really understand Bitcoin if you don't understand the difficulty adjustment. And it's really just to understand that every single day we're alive, it gets more difficult to mine. And that is the beauty of proof of work. All these miners that connect to the system, no matter how many you add, it's still 10 minutes to a block. So that is fixed. It's taking energy from all other processes in the world. It is the vacuum. You know, you don't really want to look at the news or read it or hear it, but war is a very real thing. Our number one initiative at TCIG is no more war. It is the worst thing in life. It is a waste of life, and it's a waste of money. And it really doesn't do anything for anybody. There is no reason to be dropping bombs anywhere, for anyone, for anything. For all those years that we have shouted to defund the police, I think it should shift to defund war. Humans matter. I think we should all try to shift our view to defunding war. And in order to do that, you buy Bitcoin. It really is the only thing in life that you can do to defund war, because then they can't print more money to go to war. You know, if you understand economics or politics, war is to print money. And they say war is good for economies, but really war is just good because they're able to just invent money, and that helps the economy go around, but it just devalues the value of the money and just helps the elite get more rich. So to end this little rant, I will just read off pretty powerful things. James Lavish, he says, quote, "If you want to protest anything, protest central bank monetary manipulation that steals purchasing power from you daily. And the way to do that is by buying Bitcoin. Bitcoin for freedom. Quote, the only thing you can do to vote against war is to buy Bitcoin. Carl Menger, I post about him all the time. Quote, the fiat system runs on proof of war. The Bitcoin standard runs on proof of work. End endless wars. Embrace peaceful progress. Stop wars. Stack sats. Rajat Soni, he's a CFA. A CFA, I post about him all the time, things that he's saying. Certified financial accountant. Quote, Bitcoin is the only way to protect yourself from the monetary debasement that wars require. Robert Breedlove, quote, make war unaffordable with Bitcoin. Simply Bitcoin. Quote, Bitcoin defunds war. Join the peaceful revolution. Another one from Bitcoin for Freedom. Quote, when they need to print insane amounts, they will give you a, quote, crisis. And the last one for today, Adam Semeka. Quote, you can literally starve the military-industrial bombing complex by silently buying Bitcoin and taking self-custody. What is TCIG? Digital asset self-custody education. Full circle, once you understand that self-custody defunds war, buying Bitcoin defunds war, and it is a revolution among us, that it is a movement from the bottom up, that we can actually do something to stop this madness that has plagued the planet for most of modern history. The Fed chair, he announced that banks are now free to provide banking services to the crypto industry, and they are free to conduct crypto activities. This is the CEO of Antier Solutions out of India. And I was so fascinated with this post because it really puts it into perspective how far we've come, and the standard of what we know today is not going to be tomorrow, and things change all the time. So it says Bitcoin, not the first decentralized system. It was Hashcash in 1997, which was 12 years before Bitcoin. From Cointelegraph, Bitcoin emerged from decades of innovation by the world's top minds. So this chart starts in 1974, and 1976 was the beginning of cryptography. We just go through life thinking that this stuff has just been here, and we need to understand history to appreciate how fast we are able to transact. And with cryptography, it's becoming instant. With one click, banks will be obsolete. They are already coming in hordes to blockchain, and it's not going to stop. We think this stuff is so new and you can't rely on it, or it doesn't have enough history, but it really does when you think about it, because we've had this technology for a long time. Cryptography dates all the way back to 1975. Even a little earlier than that, like 1971, with the Federal Reserve decoupling gold. But back to Antir Solutions, Tier USDT, which is the largest stablecoin by market cap, was not the first stablecoin. It was BitUSD in 2014, a year before Ethereum. This is how Ethereum has evolved, is that we've had smart contracts since 1987, so the technology was there. We just didn't have Ethereum, and that's the next one. Ethereum, not the first smart contract platform. It was Color Coins in 2012, so that's how the first stablecoin was built. And then Uniswap, not the first DEX. It was BitShares in 2014. Bridging the gap between blockchain and real estate is in full force right now, and the Federal Housing Chairman even said that it is now a top priority to integrate blockchain with real estate. So he says at the end here that the first in Web3 history proved the concept, but lacked timing, polish, and the product market fit. The world remembers who scaled, not who started. $5 billion Cardone capital. He added 1,000 Bitcoin to its balance sheet and plans to stack 3,000 more just this year. Cardone Capital is the first real estate firm to run a full Bitcoin strategy. $4.3 trillion Fannie Mae to offer its clients Bitcoin-backed mortgages for homes. Is Anthony Pompliano, which I will talk about with his new company that just raised $750 million. CCCM, which I thought his ticker was pretty cool. If you've been following along with any of our content, CCCM, you should know what that is. So he says, bang, bang. Fannie and Freddie will now allow borrowers to use Bitcoin and crypto assets as part of their application for a mortgage. This should have been done years ago, which I agree. This is the Federal Housing Association. Today, I ordered the great Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac to prepare their businesses to count cryptocurrency as an asset for a mortgage. Chainlink and MasterCard partnered to enable billions of card holders to purchase crypto directly on chain. So Chainlink and MasterCard power the new Swapper Finance platform with zero hash, providing the on-chain service and access to liquidity needed to convert fiat into crypto with seamless smart contract execution alongside Shift4 and XSwap Link with liquidity sourced from Uniswap. So combining MasterCard's global payment technology and Chainlink's industry standard infrastructure creates a secure user experience for billions. All blockchain is just creating a hash, long sequence of numbers and letters that record immutably. It settles instantly and accessible worldwide. So it's not just about finance, and digital assets are not just about finance. It's about transactions and also data. This is all doable. Like real estate is the perfect example of how this is going to integrate in everything, is because you can go buy a property right now and settle it in minutes. Like that was not a thing, but it is a thing now because of blockchain, because all of these global rails are being built that it's just a hash that puts something on the chain that represents a certain value to the data that is connected to that. So a house can be tokenized, that this is the value of it. In order to have this piece of data, this is how much it's worth. And that's how the trading will be so fast, is that all of this stuff can be transacted over these rails, and we don't need the traditional infrastructure that we've had that is being outdated every single day we are alive. NBA team, the San Antonio Spurs, signed a multi-year jersey deal with Ledger. The hardware wallet, Ledger. It is on their jersey. Did you notice Coinbase everywhere in the NBA? Did you notice that the one of the most famous stadiums in the world, the Staples Center, is now Crypto.com? This stuff is everywhere. There's signs everywhere. And their quote to it is, "The future is secured. Open your eyes." Brian Armstrong, CEO of Coinbase, "The world needs crypto now more than ever." He says, "Debt is growing exponentially. Inflation is crippling entire nations. Economic freedom is declining." To give some background, he says economic freedom means it's your money, cutting out the middlemen, their high fees and delays. Just right there, the middlemen, wasteful. High fees, crypto beats it every day of the week, all day of the week, 24/7, 365. And delays, like I was just talking, all instant. So fast, cheap, global payments for anyone with a smartphone. Anyone in the world. So he says people are turning to Bitcoin as a refuge from inflation and deficit spending. While Bitcoin is a store of value, stablecoins are the medium of exchange. The stablecoin market cap is up 50% year over year. Another week, another Ethereum record. The amount of transactions being processed in the Ethereum ecosystem just hit an all-time high of 24.45 million. That's 1 million transactions per hour and 17,000 per minute. So this is another one about Ethereum all-time high in User activity, 20.2 million weekly active addresses, 658,000 users active across multiple chains, and L2 usage is exploding an 8.8 times multiplier, or 75% week over week. If you didn't get a chance to check out ethdigitaloil.com, you might want to. This is a comparison between Ethereum and Bitcoin. So as far as issuance, the inflation, Ethereum is lower in inflation than Bitcoin, and it'll continue to be. Bitcoin is gradually going down, but Ethereum much more so because of the burn factor. And that's what it says, deflationary, max issuance cap of 1.51%, potentially. So the cap for Bitcoin is at the 21 million. There is no cap for Ethereum, but the burn, as you can see from the next thing down, 80.4% of fees burned on average. And it provides yield. You earn issuance rewards plus a share of transaction fees with a current yield of 3%. And then economic activity, it increases Ethereum usage, reduces issuance, and increases validator yields. Bitcoin, it says not applicable, no smart contract functionality, but there are L2s building in smart contract functionality with BTCFi, so that will be coming. And then utility, store of value. With utility, probably the largest one is the energy and carbon footprint, 0.01 terawatts per hour per year versus 175. And there are chains that do so much better than Ethereum, so I still definitely believe in proof of work, but proof of stake, people need to open their eyes to what it has done for energy usage and scalability and building smart contracts. And I keep talking about the burn. This is a great chart. Every time people use Ethereum, Ethereum becomes rarer thanks to the EIP 1559. Part of every gas fee gets burned. So high burn equals less supply equals supply shock. I mean, look at this. Just from the merge in 2022 to now, over 4 million ETH has been burned. Look at that, over 4.5 million ETH, equal to about $13 billion. I'll just add in this one, that Ethereum co-founder Joe Lubin declares Layer 1 will become the master ledger for the world. Permissionless to inspect, use, and add data or functionality to, credibly neutral, censorship resistant, tamper resistant, and tamper evident. You have over 150 public companies now who have Bitcoin on their balance sheet. Some of the largest ones recently, of course, we got Saylor is looking to raise $84 billion in the next 3 years to just keep buying Bitcoin. $84 billion. Anthony Pompliano, they raised $750 million and bought 3,724 Bitcoin the first day, and they already have more than GameStop. Another one, Nakamoto, raised $763 million, and 21 raised $685 million. Decentralization will help everyone. It gives everyone a chance. It gives everyone a shot. I can't imagine a world without crypto. Like Anthony Pompliano was saying, we need more peace, not more bombs. We need more love and less hate. Let's all build together. Let's all create a better, less wasteful world. Most people don't care about this stuff. Help you experience the enlightenment of crypto. It changes your life. So will AI. It's going to help people become better people. That you need to improve your skills. You need to be a better person. You need to want to learn, because everyone's going to be on an even playing field. That we can all utilize AI to our advantage. And in order to have that super intelligence at our fingertips, we need to be more innovative. It is true that yes, AI is going to replace a lot of jobs. And when you really think about it, most jobs are pretty useless and wasteful. We all need to be equal and want people to have freedom and prosperity. Just to care about each other and care about that people do have freedom. We need to care more.
Hop on the train and get on chain. Let's cut out all the noise and build together.